Okay, we'll have another quickie, kind of easy one. We're going to make this very, very cute little country shelf. And out of one cut, one A4 cut, you'll be able to make 2 of these. Now, you could line these up on a wall and they'll look like a dresser. There's so many applications. I am going to tell you though, it is to scale. It's perfect 1/12 scale, except I did make the top a little wider, and here's the reason why. I have lots of pots and all sorts of little things that I want to display. And even the plate. So I made it a little bit wider, so you know, any of your lovely little things that you've made up, like plants and things, you'll be able to display them, lamps and what have you. This could do a bathroom, you know, it's just very versatile. This one has been painted with chalky paint, so it looks a little thicker. So come on, we'll get on with it. This is your PDF layout. This is what it looks like. A4. I use 300 GSM cardstock. And your files come in DXF, Vector, PDF and SVG. And as always, if you have a machine or, you know, some newfangled laser cutter that the files won't work for you, if you let me know the format, I will gladly do it for you. So let's get on with it. I'll just put this down to the side. Again, your template guide, I know it's a simple one, but please get used to using these for when we progress to bigger ones. Because I have some, actually the next file, if I could find it to show you, the next file is a bigger one. Hold on, I'll try to root it out for you, just to give you an example. I have piles and piles and piles of things here. This one here, that's a big file. So get used to using these. And go along with me just for the first attempt. Go along with me and my way of doing things, and then you can work it out from there. Now, as always, you won't go wrong with sorting out your bits and pieces, because everything fits perfectly. I have some of these glued down because I really don't want to have an hour-long video. Now I'm just going to put them there because I know there's 6 of them there. So now where's the other one of those? Okay, I'm just going to count because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep. Now we get these glued really quick. If you've done some of my other shelves, you're going to know automatically how to make these up. But in case you're new, whatever piece you're going to be working on, take it off and put it beside you, and you won't go wrong. You won't miscount, you won't lose count or go wrong in any way. Now we just get this done really, really quickly. Yeah, these shelves are great. They're great little room fillers. Bedroom, bathroom, you could use them anywhere. And as I was saying, you could line 3 up on top of one another and turn it into sort of a little dresser type thing. I keep forgetting. I hope I'm in the right position. I keep bringing it back to myself. Habits, old habits die hard. Everything is covered in glue because this is my third tutorial today. I'm trying to get 3 a day done because I have tons of files that I want to put up on the website, and I won't put a file up until I have a tutorial done. So keep your eye. There'll be something new every day, something that might strike your fancy or exactly what you've been looking for, or you know. I will put details of the website below in the little box thingy below the window here. It feels so strange saying that, below the window here. I don't even know what that's called. Is it an information box? I'm not too sure what it's called. But you'd easily know I'm not techie. Now, I am compressing really, really hard. Sometimes it's good to turn it over and do the other side as well. I'm only putting enough glue on so for it to stick. Not so much that it'll lose out the edges or become too slippy for when we're trying to compress it. And as always, get your edges. Edges are important. I am trying to keep these as even as possible even. Let's see, I had too much glue on that. See the way they go slidey. Now, what I would do for that is I'll go to the opposite side and compress from there first, and then move back. And because I put too much glue on there, I'm going to go over to the other side and put the glue on the opposite side. You will learn yourself, you know, you really will. I keep forgetting. Sometimes do you know what? So I would actually sit here and not open my mouth and just keep compressing away, layering away. Now, last one for this. And then there's just the shelf support, and we're done. We'll fly through this one. Now, if I'm rushing too much after this tutorial is over, leave your feedback if you want me to slow down. I don't think I need to, because, you know, they're practically self-explanatory, but at the same time, you want to see how exactly they're made up and the different processes I use when I'm making this type of furniture. Now we're on to the last, the shelf support. I think this is the second smallest piece I have in any of my files. There's just one more. I can't even remember what it is that has a small piece. Now, I'm going to say this is the shelf support. So that's the top. The top will go up into the shelf here. See the way it goes up into the top here? Try your best to keep especially the top as level as you can. The glue is going all over the place. So it'll nudge up into the shelf nice and easy for you. Now there is ways around it if it's slightly uneven. I'll show you that at the end when we're putting it together. Trying to keep the end of it nice and level. Just enough glue, a slathering, and get your edges. When you're doing them yourself, you will completely, in no time, you'll get used to it. You know, even I tend to sometimes still put too much glue on from time to time. It's no big deal. Can just be annoying, especially if you're working on larger pieces. If it gets slidey, it's a pain in the backside really, but you get used to it. Try to keep the top as even as I can. Yep, that's looking good to me. Now we're on the last one. Now that was quick. See how quick. Now my daughter's friend was looking at these and the way I make them up. She was over for a visit. She said, "Oh, it looks very tedious." I said, "It's not. It really isn't." you cut out a couple of pages of these, a couple of layouts of these. That would be 4. You glue them down in less than a half an hour, and leave them ready to dry for the next day. And it's very therapeutic. I do them while I'm watching the TV. It's usually a Sunday afternoon. Right, so you know what's next, and you know what's coming if you're used to my videos. Lob it under a heavy weight and leave it for a couple of hours. Now it just so happens I have these I have dried out already, so this one, put that one aside. This one, now which one is the wet one? It's hard to tell already. That's the dry one. Put that one aside. And we're ready to go. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put glue across the top. I'm being rather generous with the glue. We can wipe off the excess. I have my little cloth here, damp cloth for wiping off the fingers. Now I'm just going to put it on the ground like that. And we're just going to line it up, making sure your edges are as even as possible. Press it in, leave it to settle for a few minutes. A good way of knowing if your edges are even is put it down like this and press down, and then you know your edges are even. This is the support. Now, I'm going to find it difficult from this angle. You go put glue on the very edge of the top and the very edge of the bottom. Now I don't know, how am I going to do this for you and be able to do it right? Right, there's no set rule. Look, you can see where I put it there. You can put them in closer if you want. You know, it doesn't matter. There is no set rule. It's if you're going to do a few of them, make sure you put them all in the same position. Now you're just nudging it up to the top of the shelf and the back. And it's as simple as that. Now I'll have a good look and I'll assess that they're the same distance from the edges. Now you can't get any more simple than this. I'm going to have to turn this around so I can see what the distance is. Let's see. Did we get it right? I did. I do believe I did. I just had to move it a tiny little smidgen. Now I am happy with myself now. Now do you see how simple that is? All made. I'm going to let that settle for a few minutes and then we'll come back and we'll do the glue. We'll get rid of those ridges. Now I'm going to hold it up for you. Ugly, they look ugly and unsightly, and that one there, I don't know what I was doing when I was gluing that one. It couldn't be any more uneven. But we'll sort that out. It's not a bother. Only simple, happy little accidents. That is not kind of sure. It needs to go up a bit, I think. Looking at it there now. Just making sure. See, I still think it needs to nudge in there a bit. Yeah, that looks good. That looking good in the hood. Now, what we're going to do is, see, if you've seen some of my other tutorials, I'm always giving out over my glue. It's a good glue, but for doing tutorials, it's not tacky enough. And a lovely lady told me to leave the tub open for a couple of hours until the glue goes tacky, and it works a treat. But the only problem is the tacky glue doesn't work as well for sealing off the edges. So I'm just going to pour some fresh glue. But that was it really works brilliantly. If you run out of your good glue and you have some cheap glue, leave the tub open. I just thought she was genius. Now, coming up with that idea. I'm just going to blob the glue on, doming it into those grooves. Now, you might have to do them very deep. Some of those grooves are very, very deep. I don't know what I was doing. I think I glued them together with my 2 left feet. But just blob it on. You're making a dome. Filling in those grooves. You want it raised. The whole idea is to have it raised off the edge. And then you can just very gently wipe the edges if there's any overflow. And leave it to dry for a couple of hours. I'm going to do this edge too. Now, the other edges, you let this dry and then you do your other edges. I know it drives me mad at times too, because I do be dying to get in and paint, but you know, miniatures, you have to be patient. You know, there are times when you've no choice. You have to be patient, and it's worth it in the end. And as I'm always telling you, work on a few at the same time. Work on a few at the same time, and it takes that kind of impatient anxiety out of the game. Now, I'm happy with that. I'm going to leave that to dry. I think probably about an hour. I don't have one made up. I wasn't clever this time. I really thought I had one made up and the gluing part done, but I didn't, unfortunately. So I'll be back in about, I'd say what, about an hour. Okay, now I think this might be, maybe it's not. Oh, it's still wet. I don't know what's going on. The temperature's gone down here today, so I don't think that's going to dry in a hurry. I managed to find this one. I know I made up one and I glued it already, but I just can't find it. But this is what I was trying to talk about. You could layer 2 or 3 up on a wall, you know, and turn it into a nice little dresser, or you know, dresser shelves. I'm going to see if I can find that other one. I'll be back in a sec. I found it. I thought I was going nuts there for a minute. I found it. Yeah. If you can see how the glue is all dry. Yeah, what are we going to do next? Our varnish. Oh, sure, it's loopy. Do you know what? It's late in the evening now, and I think I'm fit for a nice shower and a nice relaxing evening watching the telly. I might actually glue down some pieces that I'm working on at the moment while I'm watching the old Netflix. Or as always, just in case you're new here, I varnish first before we paint at all. We want this varnish to soak into it and become part of the wood, or become part of the card, and make it like wood. Non-yellowing, water-based. Water-based is most important. Everything is water-based. Glue, paint, varnish, everything has to be water-based. Now that brush has gone very hard. I don't know what's happening with it. Oh, it's alright, softening up now. Now I'm just going to, the usual, just going to soak into that now. Now if there's any bits, I can see a couple of bits there now that I missed out on when I was gluing it, when I was doing the dome and glue. I could see a couple of bits there on the edges. After you put your varnish on and your second coat of paint on, you can go back over it again. There's a bit of glue on there now that I don't want. You can go back over it again with dome and the glue on, and then leave it to dry for an hour or so, and then put your second coat on. That's not an issue at all. I've done it many a time, and you can see I'm doing it now. I'm going to have to do it now. Don't know how I missed that. Sometimes if some of the crevices, if some of the crevices are deeper, the glue will sink down more and you still have to do another little layer, you know, and it's not an issue. Just a little bit of patience is all that's needed. I'm going to leave that to dry and we'll go on with our first coat of paint shortly. Now, I couldn't find that. I thought I was gone bat poo crazy. I just could not find it. And then I was doubting myself, did I do one? Okay, I'll leave that to dry for 5-10 minutes and then we'll be ready to rock and roll. I'm trying to think, is there anything else to talk about on this? Yeah, I think I've showed you anyway roughly what the scale looks like. This is a little radiogram, but I actually have a tutorial on this as well. It looks difficult, but it's actually so easy to make, and that has been coloured in with ink pens, permanent ink pens. It looks just like wood, you know. It's really nice, a nice effect. But you can see why I made the shelf a little bit wider than scale, but it's okay, it's no big deal. It's going to look really well in a doll's house. I wanted to fit some nice things on that I've made. You know, the main thing is you're working hard on making all these extra little things and bits and pieces and your lovely plants. I'm working on an ivy plant at the moment, a really long ivy plant, and it'd be just lovely hanging off these shelves, you know. These are my disasters. These were my first attempt at polymorph clay years and years ago. I was trying to, that's supposed to be a succulent. Disaster. But you get the idea anyway of the scale, you know. It looks like something from outer space. But yeah. Now I wonder if this is dry enough yet. Nearly. I don't know what I did there. I must have scraped the paper or something there. I don't know what I did. I'll get that off. Yeah, we're nearly ready. I'll just leave that to settle for just another couple of minutes. Actually, I'm going to show you a project that's coming up soon. I have all the files made up for this. I haven't got it up on the, that was me, what you call it, tool. I haven't got it up on the website yet until I have the tutorial done. But it's this gorgeous little dresser and a matching stool. So I'm excited now about this. This was the first one I ever made up. In the file, the legs will be actually thicker. But this is how I do things. I make 1 or 2 of them and make sure everything works. And then I decided the legs need to be thicker, or there's a bit of a process that goes into it. Now I have, you would not believe the amount of furniture I have, and 2 and 3. There's some things there, I have about 10 of each. So later on in the month, what I'm going to do is I'm going to sort them out into various little piles and do a giveaway, you know, because I certainly don't want to hold on to everything. I'll hold on to a few bits for giving as gifts and things to fellow crafters, but there's still too much. I'd rather do a giveaway. So keep your eye and your ear open for that one. I'm looking forward to this. But anyway, here we go. Yes, we're ready. What colour will we go? Will we go pink? We don't have a pink one. Pink for a girl's bedroom, I think. I'm just going to shake my... I've been using these tester pots an awful lot. But I must do some using acrylic paints and that just to show you the effects. It's just the same, really. Ooh, look at that yummy colour. That's really nice. We're just going to do a very gentle light coating because we want this to be nice and smooth and flat. Am I too far back? Sorry about this now. It's coming towards the end of the day for me. I'm only an old granny. Now, only in case you know, the first coat of varnish we put on, even though it's touch dry, it's not fully cured yet. So it's important you do not put another coat of paint on this until at least 24 hours. I think that's crooked. No, it's not. For at least 24 hours and let it all cure up good and hard. And then you can do your second coat. Now, I'm sure a lot of you, you're looking at this and you're thinking already what way you're going to paint it and what techniques to use. And I mean, a lovely wood effect would be lovely. It's just, I don't have the time in these tutorials. My main aim is to teach you how to make them up. And not to keep the videos too long and boring. But as I've said to you already, I will do a couple of videos on different painting techniques and all sorts of things you can do. I've missed loads on that. Yeah. It's a lovely colour. It's a lovely shade of pink. It's giving me ideas for things. That dressing table actually would be lovely in that colour. It would be lovely in cream too. Now, all you do is you leave it to dry 24 hours. I know it's a pain, but patience is a virtue. And like, again, as I'm always saying, work on a few at the same time, you know. I was thinking what you could do is, you know those little hooks you can buy online, little tiny miniature hooks. You could put 2 or 3 little hooks or make your own little hooks and put them on it and hang little towels or, you know, baby grows or dressing gowns out of them. You know, I'm sorry I didn't think of that before the tutorial. It just came to my head now. But that would actually be really nice, be really cool actually. Little brass hooks, or even, I would imagine a little pearl might do, no, it might actually, a little pearl with a piece of a cocktail stick in the back, making it stand out. I'm getting all sorts of ideas here. But yeah, you let that dry 24 hours, no ifs, buts or ands about it, let it cure. Then you do your second coat. Before you do your second coat, examine it and see. I know already the side here, see the side here? The sides I didn't do. I don't know how I missed them. But I'm going to go over it again with my doming my PVA glue on and let it dry before I give it the second coat. So it'll be seamless with no lumps or bumps in it, with no layers showing. Yeah, and then add your varnish. Leave the second coat of paint to dry for 3 hours, and then add your varnish, your last coat of varnish, and leave it. It'll all completely cure, harden up, and tighten in within 24. Oh Lord, it's definitely late in the evening. Within 24 to 48 hours, depending on your environment and how warm it is and humid. And then the magic happens. It all tightens up and it's just like wood, looks like wood and feels like wood. So I hope now I wasn't too didgery all over the place, because I am so tired this evening. I'm looking forward to sitting down and watching it. And you know what, I'm watching a rerun of House and I'm really enjoying it. I forgot how good that show was. But anyway, for now I'm going to say slán go fóill, and I'll catch you on the next one.